Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, family. Welcome, welcome to the Mental House with your host, me, Khadijah. Um, you know, who does this? Who in the hell does this? Okay, and you may be saying, what the hell am I talking about? Well, I'm going to share a story with y'all. And I want to dedicate this um, pod, this video, this vlog to the men and women of East St. Louis, Illinois, and the history that they encountered during the massacre that occurred in that town. The night in which over 300 homes were burned in a race riot, and the women helped in beating young Negroes. Well, Negress, because that's what they used to call black women, Negresses. A night of rioting during which at least 21 Negroes and 3 whites were known to have been killed, 74 Negroes injured, and more than 300 Negro homes burned, was followed early Tuesday by comparative calm after 1,500 Illinois National Guardsmen had taken charge of this city. Unconfirmed reports placed the number of dead as high as 250. Burning of Negro homes began immediately after dark Monday night. The mobs went from section to section, applying the torch and shooting down Negroes as they fled from burning homes. Many Negroes fell back into the flames, and the story is told of a Negro who ran through the streets with his clothes aflame and died amidst the cheers of hundreds and hundreds of white persons. White women and girls took active part in the violence of the mobs, pulling Negro women from streetcars and attacking others as they sought refuge on the Missouri side of the river by crossing to the bridges into St. Louis. The white women used clubs, shoes, and all sorts of weapons to beat the Negro women, and not even the aged or women with babies in their arms were spared. The babies were beaten as well. One crowd went about the streets shouting, "Let's go, Malman. He's the man that brought him in. Let's lynch the mayor." The cry was raised because of a false rumor that Mayor Malman went south and advertised that Negro labor would be well paid in East St. Louis. The mayor visited New Orleans and conferred with the railroad heads and others to discourage Negroes from coming. Another of the innumerable brutal incidents was the attack on a young Negress. White men and women were among the assailants. "Let the women have her," was the cry among the men and the women who were begging, who began tearing the garments off the victim. The Negresses cried, "Please, please, I ain't done nothing, I ain't done nothing," was stopped by a blow in the mouth with a club. Another white woman seized the victim's hands, and the blow was repeated over and over. Fingers tore at her hair, and her waist was stripped from her. "Now let's see how fast she can run," suggested a bystander as the negress broke loose. The women were loath to leave her alone, but after following her with their blows for a short distance, they stopped, and she ran crying down the middle of the street. The women next tried to get an aged negress who was guarded by 3 militiamen. One of them wrestled with the soldier for his rifle, and the other succeeded in getting in a few blows. The rioting Monday was the culmination of a series of disturbances in which began with the killing of a policeman and the wounding of 2 others by Negroes the night before. The real cause of the riots was the labor change resulting from the unusual influx of Southern Negroes into East St. Louis. The fires set by mobs in 5 sections of the Negro quarters spread to the railroad yards and downtown district, destroying more than 200 loaded freight cars valued at more than $100,000 and many other structures. Through the combined efforts of the East St. Louis and the St. Louis fire departments, the fires were finally brought under control. Although the mayor of the city had requested it, General Dickinson said that for the present time, martial law would not be established. The soldiers were patrolling the city and have established a detention camp in which 500 rioters had been made prisoners early Tuesday morning. One result of the fires was to plunge sections of the city into darkness, and the surgeons in the hospital and the emergency rooms were forced to do their work while the policemen held flashlights over their tables. Dr. Thomas Brandegate, Kansas City representative of the Red Cross, arrived to direct relief among Negroes whose homes had been burned. He arranged quarters for several hundred Negroes, but has no provisions for which to feed them. A large automobile truck has been touring the city, removing the wounded Negroes to hospitals, but Dr. Barnage estimates that a number of injured will be increased by 200 in the following days. The causes underlying the disturbances are interest to many in the northern communities where Negro labor has been brought in from the South to replace the men enlisted in the Army or who have been attempted to other sections by high wages paid in munitions factories. In East St. Louis, with a population of about 84,000 persons, there was a steady large Negro colony, and the influx increased the population to a great extent. Unrest among the whites smoldered and even flamed up last May when, in a small riot, 3 Negroes were shot and wounded, and a number were beaten. But feelings did not run high enough, and the Negroes were merely filling vacancies, not taking the places of white men. And with the arrival of the soldiers, quiet was quickly restored. Race antagonism, however, remained. Real estate men attempted to obtain a permit from the city council to build an addition to the Negro settlement, but after a bitter light, the project was defeated. The incident served to intensify the feelings between blacks. Petty crime is said to have increased. Disease likewise. The whites began to feel that they would be saddled with all the undesirable element for all time. And recently, the labor agitators stirred up the inflammable flowers. Wow. That, my dear, is it's a graphic story of what happened to the Negroes in East St. Louis when the economy got bad. White folks thought that black people were taking their jobs. History just repeats itself, and the same ignorance goes on over and over and over again. And if you're not preparing yourself to think straight, and to love correctly, and to understand life and put it in its proper perspective, then in my belief and in my opinion, Those of us who don't remember the past are condemned to repeat it. With that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for being out there. If you like what you hear, y'all know what to do. Please like and subscribe and share. Thank you. See you next time, family. Hey, don't forget to leave your comments below. You know, y'all don't leave too many comments. And I noticed that. I don't even care if it's a lot of, but I thank you for just listening. I really do. But feel free to comment. It's okay. And a lot of y'all hit me up more on an email or a private message than you do on the board. And either way, it's still okay. That's fine. And I still can be reached. And follow me again at, what is it, DJ Anwar at Facebook. That's DEEJAY Anwar on Facebook. Or join us right here in the Mental House. Thank you. Bye-bye.